Okay, so international conservation organization that involve this NGO, we have two in our syllabus that we need to learn. So one is called CITE. CITE stands for Conventions on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. Okay, the CITE. So CITE basically they helped to ban a particular trade, work together with the governments, okay, local governments, okay, to actually check on the trade, okay, and also limit the trade or even ban the trade. So the CITE. Okay, another one is WWF. It's very famous. I mean, when still talk about WWF, the Worldwide Fund for the Nature, WWF. So this is another organization or NGO that helps in the conservations. Okay, so the first one side more to the law. Okay, they are the one that deal with the government, come up with a suggestion, so the government will form a law and then collaborate with the international society, okay, to ban on particular type of trade. Okay, WWF is more to campaign and raise the awareness. Okay, so when talk about the site, what does the site actually do? So the site is a multilateral treaty to protect endangered plants and animals. So it's one of the largest and oldest conservations and sustainable use of agreements in existence. Okay, so it's formed in 1973. About 145 countries signed an agreement to control the trade, okay, in the endangered species. So it aims to ensure that the international trade in a particular animal or plants does not threaten the survival of the species in the wild. So it means that some plants or some animals, they are endangered, so we have to limit or stop, okay? So it aims to ensure that, as I said, that's the ban a particular type of the trade. So at this moment, they protect more than 35,000 species of animal or plants. So this site actually consists of 3 appendices. We're going to look at these 3 appendices. However, we do have a problem when sites start to list these some species in the list, or what we say that particularly we ban a particular animal, but it's not always benefits a particular species. We're going to look at why later. Okay. So we have these 3 appendices. Generally, I do ask the student do not need to remember or memorize. But unfortunately, in I think last year, 2020, one question come out, okay, in the essay question asking about international conservation organization. So when talk about the sites, you might not need to actually elaborate more about these sites appendices. So what you need to know here is number 1, number 2, and number 3. Okay, appendices. Number 1 is species that are most endangered and threatened with extinctions. This is the first, means that they are critically endangered. If you don't protect them, they will extinct. This kind of the species, all trade of this species and their product is totally banned. For example, orangutan, okay, in Borneo, and also the plant species, for example, Kinabalu peaches plants. So both of them, they are in this list. So it means that no trade at all, okay, no trade at all. Number 2 and number 3, trade are allowed, but you need to obtain a particular types of permits. We need to have the permits to trade. So these species are not threatened with extinction, but will be extinct unless the trade is closely controlled. Okay, so the trade only allowed if an export permit is granted by the country conserved. So you can see that in Indonesia, we do have this long-beaked echidna, okay, and also all species in the genus, okay, Venus flytraps, they are not allowed for the trade. Okay, now how about number 3? Number 3 is a species included the request of a particular country that regulate trade in the species and need the cooperation of other countries to prevent unsustainable or illegal exploitation. So the trade in this species is regulated as well. You need the permits, but they are easier to obtain the permits compared to the species listed in the appendix number 2. Are you clear? So what I suggest you guys to know that use your own words, okay, when come to the essay part, if you want to attempt this question. So number 1, They are critically endangered, threatened with the extinction. So this group, all three are banned. Okay. Number two and number three. Number two, species that are not threatened with extinction but will be extinct. Okay, third, will be extinct. I mean, they will be extinct. Okay, unless the trade is closely controlled. And number three is the one that we need the control, but we also need the cooperations of other countries to prevent the unsustainable or illegal exploitation. So what are the regulations? Both of these appendices require the export permits. But for the one that listed in the appendix number 3, the permits are easier to obtain compared to those species listed in the appendix number 2. Okay. But what are the concerns of this site listing? We all see that listed better, right? It protects the animal, right? Or protect a particular species. But the problem here is, you try to imagine, we say that when you put in a particular animal, oh, this animal, we need to list it in this site. But it's not, it won't immediately, correct or not? It won't be immediately. For example, you want to start a law, right? You make it today. Maybe only after 1 or 2 months, then only enforce, correct or not? Okay, so during these 2 months, because people know that the trade is banned, a particular animal trade or part of the animal, the trading is banned. So when it is banned, if they know that it become illegal, okay, then the price can be obtained for those products rise. And this likely to make worthwhile for the people to break the law now, because limited people are going to break the law just to gain the profit. Okay. And a particular problem arises when it's announced in advance that a species will go on the list. So in the month between the announcement and the introductions of the new law, the trade in that species tend to increase. It's similar to, like, we all see that, okay, we have the lockdown in a particular regions. Okay, we only take place in tomorrow. So today announced, tonight people actually run away already. So same goes to this site listing, because once the animal already listed in this list, what will happen? People tends to, we know that after that we cannot hunt, we cannot trade. So at this moment, you can see that the trade actually increased. Okay, even though, as I said, that it become illegal to trade a particular species, but people still, okay, tends to do it because it become very, very limited already. People can't trade, but people want it. So you may have a people that actually dare to break the law and hunt and trade that particular species, even though in the site list. Okay. How about Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF? As I say, that WWF is more to do this campaign rather than the law. So they stop the degradations of the planet natural environments and to build, okay, a future which human live harmony with the nature. So in one of the projects, okay, they publish a lot of these environmental issues and campaign to save the ecosystem from degradations and species from extinctions. As usual, this is their way of create the awareness, publish campaigns. Okay, so one of the project they protect this mountain gorilla. What will happen here is in this African country. So they have this mountain gorilla. Okay, so what happened here is this national park, in fact, we need to stop people from hunting and degrades the habitat, but they've discovered, okay, the prospecting oil in the Africa oldest national park. So there's dilemma for the government, because there's a oil. You do know that those African countries, they are poor. If they can actually export the oil, so it means that they will gain more funds and they will have higher or better socio-economic status, right? But the thing is, this oil is within this national park, and this national park actually protects the last refugees of the mountain gorilla. So that's dilemma for the country or the government. Government want to actually export the oil, okay, to process the oil, but the thing here is going to damage the ecosystem. So this WWF actually have a campaign, try to help and to to negotiate with the government so that the government will look for alternative in this case. Okay, so always we do have the dilemma. I say that's the development, right? So for example, you need to build a railway, okay, to build a highway across a forest. So what we can do, what we can actually minimize the damage to the ecosystem. Okay, so we want what we call this humans live harmony with the nature. Okay, so we come to the last part. Okay, stop recording first.